Hi, my name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm a Cavoodle puppy coach and breeder for Noodle Way and River City Puppies. As a coach, my philosophy is simple. A Cavoodle should always complement your lifestyle, not complicate it. And this is the foundation to everything I teach. For almost the past decade, I have been working in the breeding, training, grooming, and veterinary sectors of the small animal industry. I've also been raising Cavoodles for the past 16 years, so I have definitely learned a thing or two about the breed along the way. Now this podcast is all about Cavoodles. Raising Cavoodles, training Cavoodles, grooming Cavoodles, breeding Cavoodles, and how to shape the behavior of a Cavoodle puppy. So if you're a Cavoodle parent or you are looking at adding a Cavoodle to your family soon, then this podcast is for you. New episodes will be released each Tuesday morning, and you can follow me across all social media under the name @OodleWay for more tips and advice on Cavoodles. Thanks for tuning in. Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 30 of the Cavoodle Coach podcast. My name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm your host. I'm just jumping in here quickly. I'm in the editing phase of this podcast episode and I'm listening to it back and I'm realizing that the audio isn't great. I just wanted to apologize. I'm going to see what's wrong with my mic so I can fix it for the next episode, but please keep listening. I really love this episode. It was really great. I'm sorry for the bad audio. Okay, let's jump back into it. I am excited to bring today's episode to you. I was driving in the car this morning on the way to a haircut and I was thinking to myself, what do I want to talk about on the podcast? I feel like I've spoken about so many things. What left is there to talk about? And then as I was at my haircut, I was speaking to my hairdresser and she has a beautiful boxer, a breed, the boxer, and George is 10 years old. And we were talking about, her experience raising George, what she loved, what she struggled with. And then it gave me the idea of creating an episode today, going through 5 ways to make raising a puppy easier for yourself. And this is so fitting because I'm currently raising a puppy and there are some things that I think have made a tremendous difference to myself to make it easier rather than it being harder than it needs to be. So I'm going to share those 5 ways for you now. And yes, of course, these are going to be catered more towards a Cavoodle because that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about Cavoodles. So let's just dive into the first way to make raising a puppy easier for yourself. This is so much more impactful than you might initially think, and that's your mindset. So what do I mean by mindset? Well, when we are getting a puppy, it is a very big lifestyle change. No matter whether you've had dogs before, if you currently have a dog and you're getting another dog, or you've never had a dog before, it is always a really big lifestyle change. And if we don't properly prep our minds for that lifestyle change, that's when we can really start to suffer when it gets a little bit more difficult, because puppies are difficult. Puppies are a sacrifice. If anyone tells you a puppy is not a sacrifice and a puppy does not include hard work, they're lying. They always do. And the more hard work you put in now, especially for Cavoodles and their anxiety, the easier they are in the future. So you have to put that hard work in no matter what. And so for the mindset, what I want you to understand is when you are bringing a puppy home, that first month, the first 2 months with them, the first 3 months with them, you're going to go through yourself a whole range of different emotions. You're going to feel a lot of emotions. And if you've never had a puppy before and you've never had a child before, these are going to be very foreign to you possibly. So what sort of emotions are you going to feel? Well, the first one you're going to feel, obviously, and this is such a good one, is love. You are going to be so surprised by how quickly you fall in love with your puppy and how much you adore them and how your heart just grows in size and you look at them and they become your whole world, these little puppies. And it is the most beautiful experience. And the day you bring your puppy home is a day you will remember forever. And it will be one of your favorite days of your entire life. So you're going to feel so much love, adoration for your puppy, so much happiness. But you're also, as the days start to go on, there's going to be a time when you feel frustrated. You're going to feel frustrated because you and your puppy are going through this big learning curve of learning how to communicate with each other. And puppies and humans speak two different languages. So there is bound to be moments where you're trying to talk to each other, trying to communicate to each other what you want, your needs, and it's not getting through to the other person or to the dog. And that leads to frustration. For example, you might be wanting your puppy to relax with you on the couch at night while you watch a movie, and you're trying to get them to calm down. But your puppy, in your puppy's little brain, they have all of this pent up energy, and it's getting close to bedtime, and they just naturally try and get rid of this energy. So they start to try and play, and because then you're not playing with them, they then start to seek out ways to get your attention, and they revert back to the behaviors they would do with their siblings, which is a lot of biting, a lot of barking, a lot of jumping at your face. And then you as the mum or dad get frustrated because you just want to sit on the couch and relax. So there's going to be times when you're going to feel very frustrated with your puppy until you get to that point where that communication between you both has been streamlined and both your needs and your puppy's needs are being met, and you find yourself on a schedule that allows all those needs to be met without any moments of frustration or attention-seeking behavior or boredom led behavior. Something else that is really common to feel, and it's definitely something I want to say that these are emotions I feel too, even though this is my job and puppies are my job and my career. This is emotions that I still go through, and I have definitely gone through with Joey over the past couple of months, and that's sadness. You know, there's going to be times when you have this puppy, and yes, you've got this overwhelming amount of love for them, and they bring you so much joy. But then there are moments when you're allowed to feel a bit sad over maybe what your life was like before your puppy, maybe the freedom you had to just leave the house whenever you wanted, the time you had after work to relax and do whatever you want. Maybe you liked to exercise in the evenings, but now you have to go and train your puppy and socialize your puppy. So you're most likely going to feel some sadness at times, and that's okay, and that's normal. And these, sad emotions and the frustrated emotions, they come in waves, and, you can feel a little bit down at times, but then you feel such amazing highs when you have your puppy and you have them in your arms and you are cuddling them. So that leads me on to the next little emotion you might feel, and that is being restricted. Now, if you have had dogs before, you will know that when you have a puppy, especially Cavoodles, you have to go through a training process to get them accustomed to being on their own and comfortable with it without being overcome with anxiety. And so that training process takes time, and throughout that time, you are restricted. You can't just leave the house for 8 hours at a time. Your puppy is going to need to be fed. They're going to get bored. You can't just leave them for that amount of time. And so if you haven't had a dog before, that restriction can be really hard, very foreign. And if you haven't had children before, you also wouldn't be used to that, the sacrifice you give for something other than yourself, for all the greater good, of course. You want to give your puppy or your child the best life possible. And when you're raising them when they're young, that takes a lot of time commitment from you. But if you haven't done it before, that restriction can be really hard. And there will be times when when you will feel, oh my gosh, I just wish I could have the weekend off and just relax. I wish I could have the weekend off training my dog. I wish they would just relax for the weekend and I don't have to worry about their teething and shaping their behaviors and their toilet training. There's going to be times when you feel that emotion as well. Something else that I think, I've never had anyone talk about this, but it's fresh in my mind because, again, I'm raising Joey at the moment, and that is you can feel sad or even guilt over the lack of time you have for possibly, your wife, your husband, maybe your children, maybe your partner, because a lot of your spare time after working hours is now dedicated towards this puppy. And this is something that can be really hard. And if you, again, haven't had children before, haven't had dogs before, let's just say it's you and your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you're living together and you've gotten your first puppy, to go from being able to spend all of your time and energy on each other after work to now having to turn that energy and attention towards a puppy, it can make you really sad because you end up feeling like you're missing out on that connection you have with your partner because all of your time and energy is towards this new puppy of yours. And that's going to be an adjustment period where both you and your partner, you and your wife, you and your husband, you and your children have to find your balance. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take weeks. Maybe it'll take months for you to find, that balance between the puppy and each other and how you can still make time for each other and go on dates and spend time with your children and make sure your children still get your undivided attention. And then also giving it to your puppy. Because again, if the puppy doesn't get what they need, the puppy then does attention-seeking behaviors or boredom-led behaviors. And then they become what people call a naughty puppy, which in turn makes all that frustration and that sadness and that restricted feeling increase. So it's all a balancing act, and it just takes an adjustment period. Now, throughout all this time, when you're feeling all of these different emotions with your puppy, and especially when you have those times where your emotions aren't quite positive, so those times of frustration or sadness, or when you're feeling restricted and you're just desperate to have some time to yourself, that's when it's really important to remind yourself of your why. So you have to, when you're getting a puppy, there has to be a reason why. And that reason why has to be significant enough. It's not just, I've walked past a pet shop and there's a little puppy in the window and it's so cute, let's buy one. That should never be the case. You should never make, a 15-year-long commitment decision over the cuteness of a puppy in a window. That should not be the case. So if you're getting a Cavoodle puppy, hopefully most of you have a good reason why. Why are you choosing to get a puppy? Is it because you live on your own and you want that company? Is it because you live with a partner and before having children, you want to have a puppy together first and see how you go raising a puppy? Is it because you have children and you want your children to grow up with a puppy for companionship, but then also to give them something to look after, some responsibility? The reason why you get a puppy, there's so many different reasons why, but in those moments when you're frustrated and in those moments when you're sad and in those moments when you might feel guilty over the lack of time you get to spend on those close to you, that's when you remind yourself of your why and you go, why did I choose this? Why did I bring a puppy home? And is my why worth it? Something else to really consider is with a puppy, of course, puppies are more work than adult dogs. They are younger. They are having to learn everything, and you're the only teacher that they have. So there's going to be a lot of training involved with a puppy, and that training, I just want to say, can be so fun and easy if you know what you're doing. But you also have to remind yourself that the time that you are dedicating to your puppy when they are young and you first get them, all of that training, all of that socializing, the behavior shaping, the desensitization, all of that work you're putting in, which is intensive. The first bit with your puppy is intense. That's when you're putting the most work in. That work is going to pay off in the future when you have that Cavoodle of your dreams who is really easy, who is well balanced, who isn't reactive, who isn't just crippled with anxiety. That's when it all pays off. So when you're going through this time and you feel like you have no spare time for yourself because you're dedicating all your time to your puppy, remind yourself of your why. Why did you want a dog in the first place? And why is it important for you to put the time in when they're young so that they are well behaved and easy and complement your lifestyle when they are older? The final point I have for that mindset is when you're getting a Cavoodle puppy, they are prone to anxiety, especially separation anxiety. That can be a major problem for families getting a Cavoodle. It's not a package deal. Cavoodles don't have to have anxiety, but your interactions when you first bring them home can significantly influence whether they're going to have anxiety or not. And so something that can be really good to practice is to be able to disconnect yourself from your emotions just a little bit and just enough so that you can put the training in place for that separation anxiety prevention, because that separation anxiety prevention training is going to include a lot of crying from your puppy. And if you let that crying really affect you and if you let that crying make you believe that your puppy is sad and needing your attention, it's going to be really hard to implement that separation anxiety prevention training, and then your puppy is going to develop separation anxiety. So in the training process with your puppy, it's really beneficial to just be able to disconnect yourself just a little bit, to be able to step back, look at it from, a bigger angle perspective, and just say, okay, my puppy is crying because of XYZ. This is why puppies cry. It doesn't mean they're always sad. It doesn't mean they need me. And in fact, I know that they have everything they need. And so I need to be able to step back and walk away so that they can learn to self-soothe themselves and also turn towards their toys. Otherwise, that separation anxiety forms. So learning how to have that bit of disconnect is really going to help you. Now, I mentioned that separation anxiety prevention training there, and I mentioned how there are ways to do it that will allow you to know whether your puppy is sad and if they actually need you versus if they're actually okay and just crying because they want your attention. And this is such an important distinction to make. And there is a method to it, and it is so effective and so essential if you're getting a Cavoodle puppy. And of course, that is something that I teach in my programs. My Essential First Month Cavoodle Puppy Planner program teaches you how to do that separation anxiety prevention training, and it breaks it down so that you can feel reassured that when your puppy cries, that it's okay to leave them versus if they're crying and you actually need to go to them. There is a distinction there, and I teach you how to understand that and to be able to see that with your puppy. So that's in my Cavoodle Puppy Planner program. In that program is obviously, it's a planner, but it also has 30 days of daily schedules for when you first bring your Cavoodle home, so that you can ensure that you are ticking off all of the training, all of the socializing, all of the desensitization, the behavior shaping, the impulse control that your puppy needs, the correct amount of play, the correct amount of sleep, teaching them how to be crate trained, doing their toilet training. It has everything in there for those first 30 days so that you know that you are raising your puppy to the best of your ability. And that also can really help give you that freedom back in your life. If you have a schedule that you're following, in that schedule, there is times in there where your puppy can be alone, and that gives you time to spend time with yourself, watch some TV, watch a movie, go to the park with the kids. And it gives you your freedom back when you have direction and you have a set schedule you can follow. So that's my Essential First Month Cavoodle Puppy Planner program. Early access is available now, and there is a link below the show notes that you can click, or you can go onto my Instagram and find it on there in my bio, or you can just Google the Cavoodle Puppy Planner and it'll pop up. But I really recommend that. If you want that freedom, if you want to limit all those negative emotions, the sadness, the frustration, the feeling restricted, the easiest way to do that is through having a daily schedule that accommodates to all of your puppy's needs. And this leads me into my second point, my second way to make raising a puppy easier for yourself, and that is to prepare properly. Now, when I say prepare properly, no, it doesn't mean picking out your collars and your leads and your beds and the fluffy toys. That's not preparing. It's fun to do and you should absolutely do it, but that's not what preparing for a puppy looks like. What it looks like is, firstly, you have to teach yourself how to train a puppy before you bring your puppy home. If you're trying to teach both yourself and the puppy at the same time, I can guarantee there's going to be miscommunication. Your puppy's going to have no idea what you're saying. Your puppy's going to then feel frustrated. You'll feel frustrated, and you're not actually going to see any success with your training. So preparing for a puppy looks like learning the exercises yourself, practicing them in the mirror with your children, and then when you bring your puppy home, then you can very clearly communicate it to your puppy, and then your puppy can understand and learn these exercises literally in a matter of a few short minutes. So preparing for a puppy looks like training yourself for a puppy and training yourself the exercises that you're then going to be training your puppy. It also looks like learning about all of the behavior shaping. So you need to understand before you bring your puppy home, okay, how do I react when my puppy jumps on my legs? How do I react when my puppy bites my hands? How do I react when I'm trying to play with my puppy and instead of grabbing the toy, they are jumping and and biting my arm and not letting go? How do I cuddle my puppy and have them relax in my arms and be calm rather than trying to pull my hair or bite my nose? How do I train my puppy so that they can sleep through the night from the day I bring them home? What routine do I have to do with them to make sure they don't wake up every hour of the night to go to the toilet? Or what about toilet training? What area of the house do I give my puppy access to? And how do I toilet train them so that they don't have any accidents in their house at all? These are all the questions that you need to be asking yourself when you're preparing for your puppy, and you need to find the answers out before you bring your puppy home. Otherwise, again, if you have your puppy and you're trying to learn at the same time, not only are you missing out on these critical days of development with your puppy where you should be shaping their behaviors and training them, but you're also going to confuse them because nothing you're going to be doing is going to be consistent because you won't actually know what you're doing. So the easiest way to train a puppy, and puppies learn through association and repetition, the easiest way to train your puppy and the easiest way to have a really simple, streamlined, easy relationship with your puppy where they're listening to you, they're respecting you, you're respecting them, and they're doing what you're asking is by preparing, training yourself beforehand, having an exact plan in place, and then once your puppy actually arrives home, you can just implement it. And if you are training yourself and prepping yourself and teaching yourself how to actually communicate with a puppy, from day one, your puppy sleeps through the night. From day one, there's no accidents in the house. From day one, your puppy is learning how to cuddle and play with you in an appropriate way that doesn't involve pulled hair or bitten noses. And your puppy doesn't bark at you for attention. And your puppy doesn't jump on your legs every time you walk into their area. It can be so much easier and simple. Again, this is leading me into my next point. So the third way to make raising a puppy easier for yourself is you need to have your training plan organized. So what I mean by this is you have to decide yourself, okay, what do I want to be teaching my puppy? Am I only wanting to teach them how to sit and stay and lie down? Or do I want to teach my puppy how to behave in a polite and calm manner when people come to my house? Do I want to teach my puppy how to walk on a loose lead in public and also not bark or jump towards every person and dog they see? Do I want to train my puppy so that they know how to go to a coffee shop and lie down relaxed at my feet rather than circling around the chair legs, tripping themselves up, crying because they are bored or barking at people walking past? These behavior shaping training exercises are so much more influential on your puppy's demeanor than your basic sit and stay and your lie down. And for Cavoodles, again, who are so prone to anxiety, to limit that anxiety and reduce that anxiety, we need to be guiding them through every interaction they're having. And we need to be showing them how to behave and react when all of these different pieces of stimuli happen. When they're walking down the street, they're not going to walk the day you bring them home because they're not vaccinated yet. But when you're pushing them down in their pram down the street and a car zooms past, are we teaching them how to react in that way? Are we prepping them for that experience through desensitization? Are we teaching our puppy how to be really comfortable with the brush and grooming scissors and grooming clippers so that they're not full of anxiety when we go to groom them, which costs more at the groomer if your dog is naughty, but also it means that your puppy is going to be comfortable and not have anxiety. No one wants their dog to have anxiety. It's a horrible feeling to suffer. So we need to have a training plan organized, and with that training plan also comes with that is, okay, who am I going to learn this from? Which trainer am I going to choose? What training program am I going to choose? And once you choose one, that's what I really recommend sticking with. Every trainer has a different way of training dogs. They have different ways to shape different behaviors and address different behaviors. So if you start going with 10 different trainers and you're on Instagram and you're on YouTube and you're watching a bunch of videos, the miscommunication is going to occur with your puppy because you're going to be saying so many different things to them. So decide on your training plan, decide on what you want to be focusing on, and then pick your trainer and then just stick with them and trust them to help you raise your puppy. And if you are wanting a Cavoodle specific coach who does the training with the puppies and definitely heavily focuses on all of that behavior shaping and the anxiety reducing in puppies. Again, you're welcome to work with me. I would love to help you raise your Cavoodle puppy. And my Essential First Month Cavoodle Puppy Planner program is available for early access. And through that program, when you're doing those 30 days of daily schedules that first month, each week you get to go onto a group Q&A call with me to talk to me about your puppy and whatever you're struggling with or you need extra help with for training. So you'll get that support with me. So I would love it if you wanted to work with me. But if you don't want to work with me, that's also okay. I just really encourage you to pick one person and stick with their training approach. That's going to give you the most consistency in your puppy's behavior. The fourth way that you can make raising a puppy easier for yourself is to have a think before you bring your puppy home and define your goals with your puppy. So everyone getting a puppy usually has their own, little image in their head, not image, more so a little idea in their head of what their life is going to look like with their puppy. Some people are wanting that puppy who is just going to sit with them in the office when they're working all day on the computer. Some people are getting a puppy because they want to give their children more responsibility and they want the children to have a responsibility when they get home from work to help train the puppy and take them on walks and feed the puppy and do their enrichment. Other people might be getting a Cavoodle because they love going on walks and on hikes and to coffee shops and they live a very active lifestyle and they want a little Cavoodle to accompany them on all of those different adventures. So we have to think about, what are my goals with my puppy and what training style is going to best support those goals. So you have to make sure, again, you're picking a training style and a trainer who is going to be able to meet those goals. And if you're wanting to take your puppy out in public a lot, if you're wanting your puppy to sit in the office all day, if you want your puppy to be able to respond well to children and to listen to children rather than just jumping all over them and biting their toes, that's all behavior shaping. And that's not done through your sit and your stay and your lie down. It's done through a whole lot of desensitizing, enrichment, emotional regulation, impulse control, and constantly knowing how to guide your puppy through all the interactions and shaping it so that your puppy's confidence increases, their anxiety decreases, all their needs are being met to reduce any boredom-led behaviors, and making sure that they aren't doing anything attention-seeking. So whatever your goal is with your puppy, have a sit, write down your 3 main goals of what you want your life to look like, and then make sure you are choosing a trainer and a training program that is going to help you reach those goals. Because once your puppy leaves their critical socialization period, which is from 3 to 12 weeks of age, once they leave that period of growth, it becomes a lot harder to shape your puppy's behaviors to be comfortable with whatever lifestyle you dream of them having. So you need to have that plan in place before you bring your puppy home. Now, the 5th and the final way to make raising a puppy easier for yourself, and this is also so important, is to find your community. Now, I know I sound like it's ridiculous, Tiana, why do I need to find a community of people? Let me tell you, having people on the same journey as you at the same time brings you an incredible amount of confidence and comfort, and it can really help you through those times where you do feel frustrated or you do feel sad or you do feel like you're just desperate for some time alone and you don't want to do your puppy's routine that day. Finding a community is going to really help you through that. Having that person who can relate to you at the time you're going through it is amazing. And I can tell you this because I just went through when we got Joey, well, we kept him, I bred him. So when I kept Joey and all of his siblings went off to his new homes, I ran a 5-week small group coaching program with about 15 other Cavoodle families, and we all had puppies of the same age. And through that time, this was when I was creating my Cavoodle puppy planner. So I made all these daily routines for them, and then I gave it to these families to implement with their puppies. And then every week we would all jump onto a group training and Q&A call, and we got to come on together, and everyone had puppies of the same age, and we were talking about what our puppies were doing, what we needed help with. I was giving advice, I was helping them with their training. The families who had children were talking to each other and saying, oh, when my puppy jumps, I've taught my children how to do this, and it was really effective. And the community that we made, it was amazing, it was beautiful, and it helped me so much with Joey. Just when I was feeling tired and I didn't feel like getting up and doing his training, I was able to go onto our Facebook group, and I was able to see these messages from the other families, and I was able to get motivation from them, connect with them. And then I did my training with Joey, and they helped me through so much in that first month. And so if you were getting a puppy, finding your community is going to be the best thing you do. It'll bring so much more joy into your life. It'll make having a puppy so much easier and so much happier. And again, if you are looking for that community, with my Essential First Month Cavoodle Puppy Planner program, that is a community. We have a Facebook group, and like I said, you get to jump onto 4 weekly Q&A calls with me and other families. So you get to have that community, and you get to talk to people who have a puppy and a Cavoodle puppy at the same time as you. So it's amazing, and it really does help. I cannot tell you how much it helps. It's like if you're on a fitness program and you're trying to go to the gym, those group gym classes, it brings you accountability. You make friends, and you show up more when you have community. Same thing with dogs, same things with raising a puppy. A community is going to bring you so much more success because you will feel motivated, and you will do the work a lot more. So those were my 5 ways to make raising a puppy easier for yourself. I'm going to summarize them quickly, and then I'm going to go because this went for a lot longer than I thought. Number 1 was mindset. Going into it, understanding all of the different emotions you're going to feel, and then reminding yourself of your reason why you're doing this, and understanding that, you're going to go up and down in your emotions, but at the end of the day, you are raising the puppy of your dreams, and whatever reason you got a puppy for, it's going to all be worth it. The second way was to make sure you're preparing properly. And again, preparing isn't all about buying your collars and your leads and your cute dog beds. It's about you training yourself, understanding how to then teach the training exercises to your puppy, and then understanding how to interact with your puppy depending on what they do, so that you are shaping their behavior to be really calm, relaxed, very attentive, very loyal, and not naughty and crazy and uncontrollable and a dog that's going to make you want to pull your hair out. So preparing is really, really important. We then need to make sure that we have the training plan organized. So who is going to be your trainer? What are your training goals, and what program are you going to choose? Next, we have to define your overall goals with your puppy. So outside of teaching them how to sit and stay and lie down, what lifestyle do you envision having with your puppy, and what training program is going to help you achieve that lifestyle, and making sure you're picking that program. And the 5th and final one was finding your community, because raising a puppy is always easier if you have friends who are doing it at the same time. It's so important. So with all that said, if anyone is getting their little Cavoodle puppy and you want to work with me, and you love my training philosophy, and you love the way that I speak about Cavoodles, and you want someone who specializes in Cavoodles, again, you're welcome to join me in my Cavoodle Puppy Planner program. You receive year-long access, which means the earlier you join, the better, because it'll give you more time to work through the preparation modules. And this is what's going to make the biggest difference with your puppy. So The more prep you can do, the better. If you're getting a puppy now, if you're getting a puppy in 6 months, I still highly recommend joining. Work through those preparation modules, and then I will definitely be seeing you in our weekly Q&As, where I actually get to meet you and your puppy and help you through those 4 weeks of daily schedules. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, send me a DM on Instagram. Tell me that you're listening. Tell me that you're loving it. And if you're feeling extra nice, I would love if you left me a rating and a review. It just helps this podcast reach more people, and it really does just make my day. So hopefully I'll see 1 or 2 ratings or reviews, and I'll just be the happiest Cavoodle coach you've ever seen. All right, I will see you next week. This has been your Cavoodle coach, Tiana Karamayas. I'll see you later. Bye.